I got another story here, Will. Did you know you can now buy the first ever 1 terabyte micro SD card? How wild is that? 1 terabyte. Oh, Otis. Otis is excited about the 1 terabyte micro SD card. I'm not sure how he's going to use it. Maybe he's got to store photos of his dog Crush, because he's romantically involved recently. We can't go into details, but maybe he has to store a bunch of photos on his 1 terabyte micro SD. There's a catch. It's expensive. Obviously, $450. And they're going to do an extreme version as well. It's a SanDisk card, by the way, U3 rated, can do 4K video. And they'll do an extreme version if you pay even more, which is twice as much. Oh, no, sorry. Where's the price? I think you have to scroll down a little bit more. Maybe the extreme one's not in this particular article. Anyway, I think the extreme one was around $550. I think I got it in front of me here. $585. So you can buy this directly at the SanDisk online store. And it's also listed on Amazon's US site, but currently unavailable for purchase. So they got the standard version at $450 and the extreme version at $585. Who is this for? You know, I've heard the argument with SD cards that you shouldn't buy these giant ones if you're an actual photographer or something like this, because you're putting all your eggs in one basket. You know? Kirk, you've heard this before. Eggs in the basket. Because you used to work for the travel company, and you're capturing people's experiences. If you lose the one card, even if it doesn't break, it's just one little thing you can lose. You're not, you haven't hedged your bets. But that hasn't stopped companies like SanDisk. Everybody wants more. That's the progression. That's technology. So we have it. 1 terabyte of storage inside of a tiny little micro SD. What a time to be alive. Well,
can you put it in your phone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So phone manufacturers have been, they've been saying forever that, oh, there's a maximum theoretical capacity for your smartphone if it has SD expansion. But of course, the cards didn't exist and they weren't affordable enough to actually match the proposition. But now it really is the case. You want to have a 1 terabyte smartphone? Go for it. It's an actual possibility. That said, the card may cost more than your phone at that point, which gets a little weird. It gets a little squirrely. But as has been the case in the past with these types of developments, the price will come down over time.
Right.
Volume goes up, the price goes down. It's a beautiful thing. You end up with more. But I don't know who's storing this much data locally. It's kind of wild. Like, who is that for? What do you have? What are you storing, Will?
I immediately go to phones.
Yeah, but what do you put on the card that you have to have on a phone that's a terabyte? Anime or something?
No. I mean, like 4K video. I think that's...
4K video, that could take up a lot.
I mean, you know, I use Google Photos. I don't like the fact that every time I go to an old photo, it has to, you know, download it.
From the web, yeah. Cloud-based stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who else, Will? Security people, like privacy enthusiasts.
Right.
That don't want anything in the cloud.
Yeah.
They could store everything, all their stuff locally. So that's a potential customer as well. Obviously, these cameras have gotten better. Like you said, 4K video. There is a case to be made. Maybe a person games a lot, wants to install a ton of games on an SD card or something. Mm-hmm. Some phones allow that. Others don't. But anyway, it's here. The time is now. 1 terabyte micro SD cards. Do we want to give them a quick throwback? You want to show them what a floppy disk is? Let's give them a quick throwback here, because if you're as old as me and Will, then this was your version of an SD card, and this is where you stored files. And this thing is the size of what would you compare that to size-wise? You know, it's the size of a birthday card. Who's even using a birthday card? Floppy disk. And it stored a whopping, how many megabytes did that guy put on it, Will? Give us the breakdown. Was it 80 kilobytes? An 8-inch floppy disk stored 80 kilobytes. So we don't even want to start doing math right now. I'm scared of the math. 80 kilobytes.
44 megabytes?
Oh, yeah. The next version, the 3.5-inch. So the thin original floppy was 80 kilobytes. And then in 1986, IBM introduced the 3.5-inch. That was the floppy that wasn't so floppy. And that was 1.44 megabytes. In other words, absolutely nothing. Not a single photo that you're going to take on your Pixel.
Inserting it in the computer, I gotta say, is pretty satisfying.
Yes, correct.
There's like a nice click to it, and then there's a really clear eject button.
Yes.
So
Have you seen on YouTube the floppy disk music stuff?
yes,
That's pretty wild as well. What a weird, like, development. Who floppy? Will, look what Will just typed. I'm not even going to repeat what Will just typed. You got to go watch the actual video if you want to see what Will. There, do the Ghostbusters theme. Cool. That's crazy. Who knew that these drives created so much noise? I didn't even remember it. Give us a little taste on the audio there, Will. You didn't see this before, Jack? That's amazing, right? They sound like synthesizers. How cool is that? This is the Ghostbusters theme. You can kill it, Will. This is the Ghostbusters theme on 8 floppy drives. And they're, of course, all sequenced together to create this music. It's this guy's channel. I should give him a shout out. There's 2.6 million views. Mr. Solid Snake 745. But that's pretty much as useful as floppy disks are in this day and age, because if you're storing data on there, that's some deep level stuff. You're gonna need a lot of disks. But the thing is, no one's going to be able to read it. It's kind of a funny thought, right? As everything becomes cloud-based and digitized, you wonder all the preppers about this EMP pulse that like breaks everything, and then all of our data is stored on mediums that, like, imagine some major cataclysmic event and like 17 humans are left and all the electronic components are busted. Where's all the data? Where's our history? Where are the books, Will? Who even knows how to read them? It gets pretty wild. So maybe the entirety of human history will have to be stored on floppy drives, and someone will have to know how to use them. What am I talking? I mean, going off topic here. Anyhow, it is interesting. We've been through so many formats. I can imagine a future in which, like a dramatic movie in which you've got the data you need to solve the world's problems, but you can't find a way to read it. Like, you have the disk, but you don't have the drive. Maybe this is one of my nightmares. Maybe I'm just recollecting on one of my nightmares. The data, the drive, no interface, no way to decode, encryption, bizarre, physical encryption, just by nature of the fact that there's no way to read it. What kind of terror is this?
I remember in the Jack video, Jack.
Is this Jack video coming up two episodes in a row?
Well, he had a bunch of VHS or something, or beta tapes or something, and then
Probably
he
DV.
needed like a player.
Oh
play
yeah,
it.
he had to capture it. It was a bit of a headache, right? Capturing that old stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it already is right now, and you're talking about one lifetime. Imagine all the wacky archives of information people have. And the thing is that most of the data creation of content that humans have ever made has happened in the last little while, because now regular people are creating content. At least that's what they call it. Whatever it is that us people are creating at this point in time. But like up until recently, humans weren't making the sheer amount of data that we're making now. The average person, you take photos? Okay, you got a little film roll, 24 exposures, 27? I don't remember. You got this limited number of exposures. And then after you're done, you print them out and everything's in the negatives are in the garbage, possibly.
Can you show that 1 megabyte huge drive that IBM was loading in the back?
Yeah, absolutely. Hard drives are a totally different story. Hard drives have gone through a similar evolution from just like floppy drives.
Where's that from?
Just type old hard drive mainframe. Yeah, IBM old hard drive. There you go. Yeah, that's the hard drive. I mean,
like a washing
we're
machine.
going back even further here. That's 5 megabytes in 1956. 5 megabytes in 1956 is the size of your refrigerator, or 2 of them. Man, being a human, it's exciting, guys. It's an exciting time. You know, if you have a little bit of optimism, we've solved some pretty crazy problems. So it's easy to get down and say, I don't like the current politics or whatever else, but it's pretty amazing as well when we put our minds to something, what we're able to achieve. And this is just another example of it. 1 terabyte of storage in a tiny little micro SD card slot.